do everything in our power to bring those and make them available. So I look forward to supporting our staff and working with your staff, and let's see if we can bring this in for a landing somehow.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Woodward, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. And I do agree with Vice Mayor Marino on making sure that the safeguards that were discussed were in place. I know we had discussed the previous deal, which I joined after the board, after the previous one was made, but you've brought me up to speed on it. And I think that there's a few changes in the contingency, but the previous deal, with those couple of changes that you had mentioned, I do support. I wanted to point out, with the previous deal, that was another state school, and as you know, as evidenced this morning, FAU is in my district and very important, and I've had a few conversations with them and some other stakeholders about that, and it was pointed out to me that the other school would have been another state school competing for some of the same funds, and that is not the case with Vanderbilt. They're a private university and wouldn't fall under the same parameters. So I think that's one of the ways that this probably is an even better deal for us, and it's very exciting. All the conversations that I've had with you have been amazing, conversations I've had in the community. I think a lot of people are very interested and excited about what's to come, and we're in an important part in our county with the growth that we've had, and I think a lot of decisions that we're making will resonate 50, 70 years from now. Hopefully I'm around for a number of those to see. And I don't know how long this is going to take, but should I get reelected, I have 6 more years on this board. That takes me to 2030. I'd like to see what's out of the ground by then. But I do support this, and I'm very excited. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Commissioner Bernard.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. Before I make a comment, I do have a question. I think Harvey, can you come up if you don't mind?
Yes, sir.
Have you had the chance to review the UF deal? Have Vanderbilt had the opportunity to review the deal in regards to the parameters?
So I have reviewed it several times. I don't know that I know all the intimate details, so I'm not sure what your question is, but the answer is yes.
You know, as Commissioner Marino just mentioned that, you know, we would like to go with the same terms as the UF deal. Would you be able to, your team, if we decided on a date for us to vote on this, what's the time frame that you would need working with staff to be able for us to bring something back to us?
We can accommodate a very quick turnaround, Commissioner. Vanderbilt's legal team is very familiar with the UF deal that was unanimously approved by this board 2 years ago. And other than changing some names and dates and dropping out a very big contingency, which was the third-party property owner was a condition precedent in the UF deal. That is not a condition precedent here. It's actually a much cleaner deal. So we could, you know, if your staff is available, we can turn it around in the next couple of weeks.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So, Commissioner Woodward just mentioned that she's got potential 6 years. I don't. So, and since I leave here on, I believe my last day is November 4th as county commissioner, I don't have 6 years. So since if there's, as Harvey just mentioned, if it could be turned around pretty quickly, my goal would be for us to turn this around by, we have a meeting on September 17th or October 8th. And so I would like for us to, Ms. Baker, do you think 17th or the October 8th? Or I can do it next week.
We can do it next week. However, There may be some things in the UF agreement that's not necessarily applicable. And I also want to take advantage of some of the items that was stated here today and is in the actual presentation. I'm sitting here thinking, okay, we can do this. We've got a number of things already lined up that we're currently working on that I believe this group will be able to assist us. So I'd like some flexibility in
September
it so that we
17th
can.
or
so-
October 8th? Which
Probably
one?
October 8th at the earliest, because we'd like to be able to make sure we've got all the parameters in. And then I
September
want to be really
17th or
clear.
October 8th?
Excuse me, excuse
Well, I
me.
just want to make sure.
No,
I'm
I know, I
asking-
understand.
What we
Come-
can
No,
do
wait,
is
excuse
bring you
me,
what we
everybody.
have on the
May I suggest, I don't like this sort of negotiating back and forth. Why don't we finish with everything that we're going to be said here today? And then we're going to look to staff, and then we'll get a date maybe for a report and then a date for the actual vote. So we may be able to take care of both of your dates, but let's not negotiate back and forth here before we hear all the comments, if we could, please. So Commissioner Bernard, you still have the floor, but we are not going to discuss the dates yet.
No,
until
but
the end of the
I still
discussion.
want to know, like, at which date would she be
We
able?
will discuss that
But I can
after.
still ask her the question.
can-
She's
You can
the
ask, but you're not
administrator.
going to, we're not going to negotiate back and forth.
I'm
here
not
if we want.
negotiating with
Okay,
you, Mayor.
that's good.
I'm having a discussion with the administrator.
We
Okay,
can-
so, Ms.
It
Baker,
will
you're
be our goal
recognized.
to bring it back to you on the 8th. We'll give you an update. But I would like to be really clear on the direction, because I believe we're going to need some flexibility in order to work with Vanderbilt on bringing in some of the things that they've offered, which we did not necessarily have in UF, and some of the things in UF may not be applicable to this agreement. So if we could have that flexibility, we'll work with Harvey and the legal team and bring it back as soon as possible.
So you mentioned an update. Would you bring us back a contract or?
My goal will be to bring you back the contract by October 8th.
Okay, perfect.
And if that is an issue, we will keep this board apprised of what's going on. I think we all want to get this done as soon as
Okay.
possible. But, you know, we've got a number of other number one priorities going right now as well.
So, Ms. Baker, since I did bring up the 17th, would we be able to potentially get a report from staff
Yes.
to the board on the 17th?
Yes.
So that way, if there are issues or any hiccups or something that we need to be apprised of, then on the 17th, you can provide that to us, and then for us to have the date of October 8th.
That will be our target date.
County attorney, is that something? Okay.
I do have a problem with that, so we'll have some more discussion on these dates. Commissioner Bernard, are you done with your
No, I'm
comments?
not, I'm not
You go
done.
right ahead.
No. You know, Commissioner Weiss mentioned that the future is technology. I disagree completely because we don't know where the future is going. And so I just think that we, as a board, as we're making this decision, we have to, the jobs that we have today may not exist 10, 20, 30 years from now. And so I think that this opportunity to bring a world-class university to a world-class county and a world-class city is historic. And I look forward to us as a board making this decision in terms of moving Palm Beach County forward. So that's my comments, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Baxter and then Commissioner Barnett.
Thank you, Mayor. My question is for SMA. Could you please highlight what the previous deal was with UF, just to make sure we are all okay with that? Because it was mentioned to go proceed with that, but I would like everyone to kind of hear what that entails.
Understood, certainly. Good morning again. The previous deal with UF was a negotiated deal, meaning to say that we came to the board, if my memory serves me well, 3 different times with term sheets that evolve as we continue to negotiate. In a nutshell, very high level, the deal provided for a certain set of milestones that UF was going to meet It had a series of conditions precedent. I will argue maybe the most important of those milestones is that, or was that, this board retained the right to look at the master planning that was going to take place before the actual work proceeded. And that was a provision that was put in place to make sure that the board will get an opportunity to validate that the representations being made at the time of approval were going to be delivered. We therefore, as a function of that process, created milestones that will allow for the property not to be conveyed or retained back until we had a certainty that the goals that the board had established and we had translated into a negotiated agreement were materialized. We had included restrictions, use restrictions, and the ability for the county to retain or regain control of the property should something go south, so to speak, or not develop as proposed. We had included as well provisions to accommodate the fact that we still have the Community Services Department building at 810 Datura, right? And that construction wouldn't be possible unless we're able to relocate the building and then clear the site. We had included as well references to city-owned property because University of Florida had established at the time that both city and county were needed. The private ownership that was previously referenced by Mr. Oyer was preferred but not conditional on the ability to continue to move forward, although other things happen through.
Forgive me, assuming these sound like amazing parameters, but in regards to the land, what were the deal? What were the parameters to that?
With the land, we had eventual conveyance to a subject to a set of use restrictions and ability to recapture the land, what I'm going to call loosely right of first refusal under several conditions if the uses were not to be met. We also delayed conveyance until after a confirmation of what I'm going to call the master plan was in place, right? Certainty that it was going to be built.
Making sure that it's for educational
as
purposes
the board.
and that everything
Yep.
we agree. So
We also had restrictions on what uses could be allowed, and the conversation regarding public and private was center to our negotiations throughout.
okay, so with that being said, and just making sure that I clearly understood everything and everyone else has, I do support Commissioner Marino and Commissioner Bernard in supporting the, previous UF. If we can get that done, I love the idea of the update on September 17th, the contract no later than October 8th. I do love that. So, and those safeguards previously stated by Commissioner Marino. And this way, if any of those safeguards that we are discussing today are causing any problems, I would like them brought to us sooner than September 17th so that we can work them out prior to that, because I do not want this board or this county to miss out on this amazing opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner. Commissioner Barnett and then the Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. I would just like to echo the Vice Mayor and Commissioner Baxter. I am 100% in favor of this project and would like to see that negotiated contract brought back to us no later than 30 days. I think the date was the 17th, if I'm not mistaken.
The update 17th and the contract no later than October 8th.
October 8th.
And if we could just confirm from the stakeholders in the room that wouldn't be too late, I would really appreciate it.
For the record, Harvey Oyer, those dates work. Thank you.
If they work for you, they work for me. I think it's time to bring Vanderbilt to West Palm Beach.
Indeed, sir.
Sooner the better.
Yes,
Absolutely.
we agree. Thank you.
There was a discussion in my office yesterday with regards to the elite status of Vanderbilt due to your global search for your student body. And you made a point to mention that you're not bringing a satellite campus to West Palm Beach. You're bringing a second campus with the high expectations that you hold for Vanderbilt and the Vanderbilt name, whether in Nashville or in West Palm Beach. I wanted to also make reference to what Kelly Smallridge mentioned about being a student of business here in West Palm Beach, maybe if she had had the opportunity to pursue her business graduate goals at a university with the caliber of Vanderbilt, maybe she would have gone in another direction. I would like to see that opportunity for our local students as well. I know you're going to be doing a global search for your student body, but I don't want Palm Beach County students to be locked out of that search as well. Just want to make sure that our students here in West Palm Beach will have the same opportunities wherever possible to benefit from a world-class education that Vanderbilt offers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner. Vice Mayor Marino.
Thank you. Maybe we can bring this in for a landing. I do, in the presentation, it was based on 300,000 square feet, 500 and some odd million dollars. It included student housing, the academic building itself, and a parking garage. So I think what might help the process if you have some sort of site plan that you might have etched out or something like that. I think we'd all appreciate seeing that. That would make the process easier. And I realize it's hard to do a site plan when you don't know what you're going to have, but you have to, if you play chess and not checkers, you had to have done all of the due diligence that says this is what we're going to, if we get this property, this is what we can do on it. And I think the county would appreciate getting a site plan of some kind. And with that.
No, I'm
Oops.
not
Well, go
done
ahead.
yet.
Sorry.
That's okay. Okay, I see no other lights on. I just want to say that this is a tribute to our business community under the leadership of the Kelly Smallridge, the Business Development Board, Economic Council, BizPac, that a prestigious university like Vanderbilt would decide to come here to Palm Beach County. It shows that we are really Wall Street of the South. And I appreciate the work and the hours that have gone into building our business community into a stellar community that it is today. Secondly, this is also a tribute to our public education. Michael Burke has done an amazing job, and all the teachers and administrators of our public education and private schools as well, to show that we have the students here to support a graduate school of this great esteem, such as Vanderbilt University. But I think most importantly, or great restaurants, I think it's the people. I think it's our residents. I think it's our constituents, the 7 commissioners who sit here today, that we have been noticed to have a graduate school for the future. As I say, for the Jennifers, I've just learned who Jennifer is. Jennifer is Gen X, Gen Z, the Alpha generation. This isn't for boomers such as myself. I think I'm the only boomer here anyway, so I can say that. But this is for our children and our grandchildren. And it's a tribute to the people, the people. There are many cities in this country that have great business organizations, and I won't even name who they are, where they are located. But there's very few that can parallel Palm Beach County. We have the business community, we have the education, we have the good people who live and work and play here. And so I am proud to be the mayor of this great county. This is not like University of Florida, folks. I've reviewed that contract. I'm an attorney for many, many years. University of Florida is a land grant university, the top-notch Blue Key University of this state, but it is a public university. We have a public university here. It's called Florida Atlantic University. And Florida Atlantic University not only has a stellar athletic teams, but also a great educational program and graduate school. We don't need any competition. I love University of Florida. I put a lot of money into it when I was in the legislature, but we are Palm Beach, and we love our own university, Florida Atlantic University. This new contract is a new contract. It is not the same I'm sure it'll have a reverter clause. If they don't proceed to do what they have promised to do, Vanderbilt, it will revert back to the grantor, which is Palm Beach County, the taxpayers. We own that land. We own that land. And we will decide what is the best and highest use for that land. And I'm sure that the staff will do a good job working with all of us here. We also have private universities here. One is just a couple of miles from where we sit today. That's Palm Beach Atlantic, and Kaiser, and Southern. We have a lot of private universities. And I look forward to Vanderbilt working a synergy with our private other universities here, because I think that we can all work together, very much like Stanford did in Silicon Valley. And we will not just replicate that, we will surpass it, because we are Palm Beach County, and we will work together on it. So the only question I have, and it's something that's pretty important, do we get the Grand Ole Opry? Well, I've been to Nashville. You guys got great music out there. We got pretty good music here too, but I'd love to see maybe a music institute here. We can have some of that great Nashville music, and Memphis as well. So with that, I'm going to close the board, and if there's no other questions, I am going to move that we, Vice Mayor, did you want to say something before I make my motion? Okay, we'll make the motion together. The two Marias here are going to make the motion together so that we can review this, staff can review this for a receive and file.
Need a motion.
Pardon? Oh, we don't need a motion on this?
Oh, yeah.
We're just going to direct. We're going to direct staff. Two Marias are going to direct staff to review this and to bring this in for a final vote. I would like it sooner than later. I'd like to see 30 days. If there is any reason why we cannot in 30 days, y'all have done a lot of work already from Vanderbilt and the staff under Issame's direction, and thank you, Issame, for your work on this. Under Issame's direction, you all have done a lot of work as well. Is there any reason why we can't bring this in for a final vote in 30 days?
We will, Mayor, we've got a million things burning that all of you want, number one, done. We will work as diligently as possible to bring this back to you as soon as possible, no later than the October 8th date. We're going to have to move some priorities around, but we'll bring it back to you no later than the 8th. If we can get it to you prior to that, we will do so.
What
We will
is the
work very
date that, I'm sorry, Ms.
We will
Baker.
work very closely with Mr. Order. We've already started talking to him. A lot of the things are already laid out in the information they gave us. We've got a parameter to start working with this, and we will do so. We will try to get it back to you as soon as possible.
How
But I
about
don't
if
want to
we-
give you a date that
Sure.
is not going to,
Be work.
Won't
Mr.
work
Oyer,
for
would
you.
you come up to the podium? Are you representing the applicant here legally?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Can we do this, can we, and Ms. Baker, you're in charge of the staff, so you're the boss when it comes to the staff. Before October 8th, is there a date that we could have possibly a report to see how we're doing before that date?
what we can do, Mayor, as directed before, was to come back on the 17th, give you an update, and then no later than the 8th on the agreement. We can give you just a quick briefing on this individually as we do our normal one-on-ones up until that date, just to keep you informed.
I'd like, because I know that this is a work that's been in progress for a while.
No.
No? Well, I have, and I know Issame and I have been talking about it as well with regard to that. So give me a date that we can have it before that October 8th so that we can have a little report on how we're doing on it. What do you suggest?
You tell us, Mayor. I
Okay.
think that the October 8th, with all the things we've got going that we got to finalize, I think the October date is a date that we can commit. I will commit to the October 8th date. But prior to that, unless you give me permission to take some of the things that we are working on off the plate and make this the number one priority, we can get it back to you ASAP.
Commissioner Bernard?
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. You know, I'd like to, I want to do the motion to receive and file this item, Madam Mayor. Can we get a
No, I
second?
think we've done that, or not?
No.
Okay, you have the first by
Second.
Mayor, the second by, no, I can't do that, can I?
Baxter.
I can't do that. So we're going to have the first by the Vice Mayor and the second by Commissioner Bernard. All those for, anybody opposed, see that it passes unanimously. You
Madam-
have something else
yeah.
to say, I can just tell, Commissioner.
Yeah. Madam Mayor, I think that this board would prefer to do the update on the 17th and to have a date of October 8th. If the staff is, and if working with Mr. Oyer and their team, that they can bring us something on the 17th, then they can do that. But let's have the October 8th as our drop dead date. So just to give us, if it's an update on the 17th or the actual agreement, it's great. But if not, we have October 8th as the final date.
So September 17th would be the report and/or the final vote. And if not the final vote, then we will do that on October 8th. Is there anybody in disagreement with that? Especially staff. Mr. Oyer, does that sit well with your legal preparations for this?
Absolutely.
Very good. I love to see lawyers work quickly. So very good. Then I think we are done with this. It is now, no, I'm sorry. We're all lawyers. We work by the hour, that's all right. So I think, so congratulations. We have received a vote on that. We are going to, Mr. Barnett, Commissioner Barnett. Okay, we are going to, it is now after 12. And I know we have a lot of folks here waiting for an item that's on the agenda. But I am going to take the liberty to break for an hour. I'm sorry, I'm going to break for an hour. And we'll come back here at 1:05, and we'll commence at that time. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Commissioner. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. We are ready to start the second part of the Board of County Commissioners meeting of August 20th, 2024. And thank you for allowing my colleagues to have a little lunch break. We get grumpy if we don't. So I think that we have a quorum. I don't think we need a roll call at this time. We're going to go ahead and proceed. For those of you who are following, we are on page 119, 6A2. And we have staff here. Otherwise, go ahead. Yes, we have a movement right now. Wait, I think staff is coming. Are you on this next issue? Staff? Okay, why don't you come on in and we'll see. Does anybody want a presentation of this issue at this time? Seeing no one, go right ahead, Commissioner Weiss.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to go ahead and move item 6A2. Yeah, I move it.
Second?
We have a second by Commissioner Bernard. All those for, anybody opposed? See that it passes unanimously. Great job, staff. Appreciate it. Very good. Thank you.
You guys are really
May they all
efficient.
be this way easy, huh? Okay, now we're going on to 6B1. And this is the clerk and comptroller. Do we have staff here for this? I think we do. If not, yes, we do. Staff. Yes. Good afternoon.
Mayor,
Does
do we have,
anybody wish to have a statement by the, by staff? No? Seeing none at this time. Do we have a first?
Yes.
By Commissioner Baxter, a second by Commissioner Bernard. All those for.
Short
Anybody
money.
opposed? See that
Coming up short
6
with money.
B1 passes unanimously. Congratulations. Moving right on to 6C1 airports. And Ms. Beebe is in the room. Laura, good to see you.
We're going to get
Isami, this is on a motion to approve. We have a number of airport issues following this particular one. So why don't we move forward at this time? Oh.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve item 6C1.
Second.
Again, and we have a first by Commissioner Bernard, a second by Commissioner Baxter. All those for. Anybody opposed? See that it passes unanimously, 7-0. Thank you so much, Ms. Baby. Should we go right on to 6C2 at this time?
Motion to approve item 6C2, Madam Mayor?
Yes, thank you,
Second.
Commissioner Bernard. I have a second by Commissioner Baxter. All those for. Anybody opposed? See that it, don't go away yet. See that it passes unanimously, and 7-0. And now, congratulations. Nice job. Moving on to 6D1, there's a light on. Commissioner Weiss, you're recognized.
Yes, this was, I had actually asked staff to look into this matter on
61?
On 61. And I want to thank them again for their efforts and community outreach that they did. Staff, the recommendation is that this time we do nothing, and I have no problem with that.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much. Did you want to be the moving party on this?
I don't think there is a motion, it was just a report.
It
Okay.
was a report and seeking direction, so
And seeking direction, all
No
right.
further direction.
no further.
Okay, so there's no further direction. Does anybody have any
That's fine.
questions or comments on this? Very good. So you have your direction, and it's done. Thank you so much. That was good. 6D1, Facilities Development Operations. That's a summary. Moving right along. Boy, we are moving, aren't we? 63, and this is on a motion to approve.
with
Did I
D2.
skip one?
Yeah.
Oh, good. 6D2, and this is also direction,
Yes.
all right? Commissioner Bernard, you're recognized.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. County Attorney, I sit on the board on this. Does this present a conflict? Okay.
You sit on the board of the Historical Society?
As in, yeah.
Then that is a conflict, and you should abstain.
Okay.
Fill out the appropriate form with the clerk.
Okay, perfect.
I have, okay, very good, so that takes care of that. Let the record reflect that. Commissioner Weiss?
Yeah, I'd like to go ahead and, and make a motion, excuse me, to approve item 62.
I have a question right before we take a
Oh.
vote on this, and I went
I
over
made my
this
motion, so.
beforehand. Commissioner Woodward, did you want to give any statement on this?
I did. I had some questions on this one, because as I'm reading this, it's $46,000 would have been what the rent we're asking for is. And I had asked, what would the market rate for this particular, the square footage and the location, what would market rate rent be for this?
Okay. Good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commissioners. Isami Ayala, Director of Facilities Development and Operations and Assistant County Administrator. We do not have an appraisal, but we did an estimate based on rates in the area, right? So if we take into consideration the space that the Historical Society occupies for total, and then the mix of museum and office space, we land at a range between 14,000 and 19,000 on market cost, which then translates per month, which then translate to somewhere in between 168,000 to 228,000 per year. So it's a range, right, from low to high, based on estimates of comparable fair market rents in the area.
But this motion is to actually do an abatement, which is zero rent, right?
This motion is actually requesting board direction if to proceed with a rent abatement or not. The Historical Society has requested a rent abatement be approved.
Okay, well, I read the email that was sent, and it felt vague as far as what the county gets for this abatement and what, I felt like we should have some discussion on this. If we're gonna do a complete abatement versus at 46,000 is what was required, which is a third to a quarter of what would be market rate. And we don't do this for any other nonprofit in the county, do we?
Oh, yeah.
We do have some non-for-profits for which we have reduced rent or provide space, depending on the services they provide. And Ms. Purvi Bugaida, who is our Director of Property and Real Estate Management, can provide additional information.
Sure. So we do have leases with not-for-profits that are, as Isami said, a reduced rate or nominal consideration, but they also provide, some type of service to the county residents. Historically, the 43,000 that you're referencing, that's because we were charging them for the office space, but not the museum space. The quotes that Isami provided was if we were going to charge them rent for the entire space. And the Historical Society has just asked for continued rent abatement, as the board had granted them previously.
And how long have we been, this is rent abatement, how many years?
The first rent abatement was approved from 2018 to 2023. It's
So
continued.
6 years of no rent, and the agreement was after that, then it would go to the 46,000?
The 46,000 was prior.
Was prior.
That would have been the rent that they should have been paying, yes.
Okay, well, I just think that we maybe should discuss this as a board, zero rent abatement. Like I said, the email to me wasn't convincing. So I'd like to
I
hear what anybody else has to
absolutely
say.
agree, Commissioner Woodward, and this is something I went over with the staff and agenda review. First of all, what do they do for the county? I mean, this is county taxpayers' money that we are not receiving, and I want to know what they are doing for the people in the county for us giving them an allowance of not paying rent. Do we have an answer?
Certainly, I can provide the information that the Historical Society has provided to staff in the years prior. So when the abatement was last approved, there was a requirement that they will need to submit annual reports stating the services and quantifying the services that they were providing to the community and research and typical services of that kind. They had provided and have provided those reports annually. I do have them with me here today, and the board was provided at the time copy of those annual reports. And what they do basically is that they summarize the staff time and support they provide to different groups throughout the community. This morning, Jeremy Johnson from the Historical Society was here. I don't know if he's still here, but something to consider.
Mr. Johnson here from the Historical Society.
Seems he left.
My question really revolves around, do they do anything for our school children?
Can I answer this?
Of course you can.
Thank you. I don't know if you ever notice, if you ever go out onto 3rd Street, there's a line of school buses out there most days during the school year because they do open up. Their facility is free. In fact, it's free to anybody that wants to visit the historical museum. But it is, the schools have field trips there. They don't differentiate or discriminate whether they're private schools, public schools, charter schools. They all have access to it, but it is free to visit for anybody in Palm Beach County, but specifically they do target the schools. You ask about what they do, and they preserve a part of our history, lots of our history, and anything from talking about what happened here during World War II to You know, we had, I want to say a year and a half ago, was on the medical community, specifically on the African-American medical community, and outlining that history. I mean, I'm not probably as good as Jeremy Johnson is to talk about everything, but I think they provide a service to all county residents. Their doors are open for free, and I think it's a good use of that space. You know, we recovered that space, and many people may not know, when they look at that building, it didn't look like that a few years ago. When I moved here, it was covered, wrapped, something that I think our facilities people like to do occasionally is wrap buildings, but that building was wrapped and deep inside, and it was actually Attorney Harvey Oyer who really pushed for that building to be saved. They got inside and saw that, in fact, the building was intact underneath that wrapping of the old courthouse, not the courthouse you see there today, but the previous version of that courthouse. So it was recovered and has been made available, and I think it's an excellent use to preserve our history, allowing people to learn about what this community was like in the past. And I'd like to see them to continue to operate and taking money, in this case, for rent, specifically. You know, you're probably going to end up having to charge people to go in there, and you know, is that really the benefit that we want? Since it is available to everybody, each and every, you don't have to have anything special to go in there other than an interest in learning about the history of Palm Beach County and walking in that door, and they would be happy to educate you about it.
That's very good. Thank you so much, Commissioner Weiss. How do they make rent if they're not making any money? Maybe we should review our agreement with the Historical Society, because if they don't charge money and they are not getting any grants, then maybe, Ms. Baker, we need to review their agreement with the county and having to make rent. I think it's wonderful that there's no charge. I like that idea. If they have a lot of programs for the school children, that's wonderful. But how do we expect them to make rent if they're not making any money?
We're not recommending that they necessarily pay rent. We're coming to the board to say, would you like to continue with the abatement for the next, currently we did it for 5 years. And so it's time for, that lease is expiring. And so we're coming to the board to ask the board, do we want to continue, get some direction from you on whether we want to continue with it. And I think that Commissioner Weiss laid out the benefits. Mr. Johnson does work with us on special things that are coming up as well, and it is a good tourism site. So we're not necessarily asking you to make them pay rent at this time, because I do believe it is a benefit to our community.
Obviously it is,
as well
definitely.
as serving as a tourist spot.
Definitely. Commissioner Woodward, and then Commissioner Baxter and the Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Commissioner Weiss, for explaining this. My concern is, I mean, we all have offices right across from this facility, and never once have I been reached out to have a tour to understand what we're doing, and that to me is a little concerning that, you know, we are doing this. And you spoke very well. It would have been nice to have heard from Mr. Johnson, I believe you said. But I do think it's imperative for any nonprofit that we do something like this with, that they should reach out to this board as a whole so that we all know the value of what we're voting for, because we do represent the taxpayers, and if they can't even come to me, and I represent 1/7 of this county, and I don't know what they're doing over there, that seems to be a bit of a problem. And maybe some of that's on me, maybe I need to reach out, but if they are coming to us for rent abatement, then I think that they should make the effort so that I understand why I would vote for this.
Yes, ma'am.
Exactly. I've never been there either.
I will take care of that issue.
Vice, I don't know which one of you. Commissioner Baxter, and then Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. I do agree with Commissioner Woodward. It is always helpful when people can come to us when they have an ask. But I will say that when my son was not in school one day and he came to work with me, we did do a tour over there, and it's great. I love history and the way they preserve it, and to just walk around and see the historical courthouse here. I think it would be a huge loss for our community to not have that ability to do that for whomever is coming here, and for especially the students, because they can see where it all started, and then right across the street where we're at now. So I absolutely do love history. And because they don't charge, I think that's fair. It's not like they're charging fees and then we're abating their rent. They are taking care of it. I would assume on some level that we don't have to do. Are they maintaining it, Madam Administrator?
We maintain the building.
They take care, if I may,
Or-
Administrator, they take care of the spaces they occupy. We take care of the base building.
So, with that being said, that it could be a savings in itself, that one less thing for us to really have to take care of. But at the end of the day, I think it is a fantastic place to visit and see. And I hope, if you haven't, Commissioner, I hope you do get to over there.
We'll take your kids. Vice Mayor Marino, you're recognized.
Thank you. I don't see this as being much different than us granting dollars to other agencies in the county that partner with us. So I have no issues with the rent abatement. This is the one place where we actually preserve Palm Beach County's history. And they not only just have a museum there, they have educational classes. I've actually been to a whodunit, and it was, in a courtroom kind of thing. Leadership Palm Beach County visits the courthouse. So it's partners with a lot of agencies in the county, and especially being able to have our kids go there for free any day of the week, and doesn't matter what school you're at. I believe this is a benefit to the county, and again, as we grant dollars, and we do this every year, we figure out who we're going to grant dollars to. This, in essence, is a grant to them, but they're providing a service to us, which is what the bases are for when we're doing a grant. So I am in favor of the rent abatement, and I would encourage everybody, if you have not been there, take the time and go over it, because just to see our history, and just to see where, a courtroom that has been in existence for a long time. It is our history in Palm Beach County. Thank you.
Very good, thank you.
You can see the butterfly
There are no
ballots there,
other
too.
lights, so, actually, I used to practice law in that building. And it is beautiful. So I think at this point, I think we're going to give direction. Do we need a vote on this, Ms. Kaufman, or can we just
got
give
it.
direction
We're
to
good.
give
We're
a
good.
rent
Just give direction,
abatement?
it's
Okay. All right, so at this time, okay, very good. Mr. Johnson?
Hello.
Oh, you came in at the right moment.
Oh my goodness.
Just
Well, they
great
say
timing.
They say timing is everything, right?
It is, especially on your particular application. Sir, we are about to give direction to the staff as to whether we will grant you or the facility that you represent a rate abatement. So it may be, if you want to say something, but it may be wise not to. I'll leave that up to you. Vice Mayor, did you want to say something?
Mr. Johnson is the executive director of the Historical Society and a partner with a lot of agencies in the community. And if you have, a couple words you'd like to share with us, we've been trying to assess whether we would like to do a rent abatement or not. Several of us that think it's a good idea because you are a partner with the county on so many things, but I'll leave it up to you. I would like to hear your words.
Sure. Well, thank you, Commissioner Marino and Madam Mayor and distinguished commissioners. I just want to take an opportunity to thank the county for their incredible partnership in our important work. We reach thousands of students in our school system, residents and visitors alike. I just also want to share with you, we've recently become an official designated Holocaust education site for the School District of Palm Beach County.
I had no idea.
That will also continue to help bring young people to this institution. The rent abatement is critical to our success, and I'm grateful for your consideration.
Very good. Thank you so much. Are there any questions for Mr. Johnson at this time? Commissioner Barnett.
Thank you, Mayor. Just how critical is that abatement? I think it's $46,000 a month. How will it affect your operations? Sorry?
It's a year.
A year, $46,000 a year. How will that limit the services you provide to the county? Our school kids if you end up having to make up that difference on your own?
So that money is very important to us. As you probably all are aware, we've lost significant funding from the Division of Cultural Affairs at the state level, which was a critical blow to our institution. And we, quite frankly, use those resources, and part of our agreement with the county is that people like the Sports Commission, the Film Commission, Discover the Palm Beaches uses us constantly, and we have a wonderful relationship whenever the notion of promoting our county's rich history and cultural heritage is of issue. We are your partners, and so we consider ourselves partners with you all, and obviously being the Historical Society of Palm Beach County, I think it makes great sense.
Okay, now I understand why. It's because the state never funded the cultural programs throughout the state, and that's where you
Governor
okay.
vetoed it.
I understand that. Okay, very good. Okay, I think we are ready at this time. Does anybody wish to say anything against giving them direction on the rate abatement? Okay, very good. Then
Please proceed.
Please proceed as you want to. Thank you very much. We look forward to having a review of your place, a visit of your place.
Thank you,
soon.
absolutely, thank you.
Thank you for all you do. Moving right along to 6D3, and as we, want some water? Oh, okay, that's all right. Should drink vodka, it's a lot easier. Goes down smoother, Commissioner. Okay, very good. So, moving on, 6D3, and we're going to need, obviously, a supermajority vote, 5 commissioners on this. Vice Mayor, did you want to say something?
I just wanted, we've done several of these in the past, and I would just like to make the motion to approve a purchase and sale agreement for 8.57 acres.
Okay, before you do that, does anybody have, would anybody wish to have a presentation by staff? Okay, seeing none, we have a first. Do you want to say anything more about your first? Okay, we have a second. First by the Vice Mayor, a second by Commissioner Weiss. All those 4. Anybody opposed? 7-0 is the vote on this. And going along to D4, the top of page 125, on a motion to approve. And does anybody from staff wish to have a presentation? Anybody here wish to have a presentation from staff? Seeing none, do I have any? Make a motion from the Vice Mayor, and a second by the Commissioner Weiss. All those 4. Anybody opposed? See that it passes 7-0. Very good. It's good to have facilities right here. We're moving on 65, and this is on direction, and this is with regard to the RFP to develop and operate the unimproved portion of the county-owned 20-mile Bend property for an off-highway vehicle park, comma, a racetrack park, or a combination thereof. And again, this is for direction for this area. So, would we like to have a staff presentation?
My apologies. We were
That's all right.
taking care of some technical matters. Good afternoon again, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commissioners. Esami Ayala, Director of Facilities Development and Operations, and Assistant County Administrator.
Thank
We
you.
have a full table today. With me here is Eric McClellan, Director of FDO Strategic Planning Division, Purvi Bogaira, Director of Property and Real Estate Management, Jennifer Cirillo, Director of Parks and Recreation, Howard Falcon, Chief Assistant County Attorney. This item reports on findings from further due diligence on the county's unimproved property at 20 Mile Bend, as was directed by the board. Today's board direction will inform the RFP seeking a developer and operator for the property. Eric, to my left, led this due diligence effort for FDO, so he will deliver the presentation. We will be more than happy to address any questions or comments from the board.
Very good. You're recognized, sir.
Thank you, Ismi. Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to present our latest findings to you this afternoon. And in addition to myself, we do also have our subject matter experts from the project consulting team with us in attendance in case they're called upon during any questions. A lot to unpack here, so let's get right to work. Just to briefly recap, the property has been identified as an opportunity for an OHV park since 2013. The board was informed in December that limited due diligence for a potential racetrack park at the property identified no fatal flaws, but did identify areas for further exploration. As a result, the board gave direction to consider both uses for the property, further investigate those areas in need of attention, and to engage with stakeholders to receive feedback. What will be presented today is, again, a conclusion that there is no regulatory fatal flaws that have been conclusively identified, but that policy decisions do remain. We all know by now the subject property is south of State Road 80, abutting County Road 880 at the 20-mile bend of State Road 80. The overall county holding is approximately 200.6 acres. That consists of an existing PBSO training facility, a communication tower, acreage committed to the South Florida Water Management District Levy L7, canal right-of-way, and approximately 161.5 acres of undeveloped land. The first task that we were assigned was to confirm PBSO's need for future facility expansion onto the adjacent undeveloped property, which is reflected by the images on the right of the screen. PBSO responded that no expansion will be required to support PBSO operations. Therefore, the approximately 33.5 acres that were reserved for that purpose can be combined with the 128 acres originally identified for the OHV park and/or racetrack park for a combined total offering of approximately 161.5 acres, and that became the basis of our further study. This slide reflects the results of the expanded property area and configuration using the Palm Beach International Raceway or Moroso Motorsports Park as the assumed program and design. What you see is elimination of dimensional constraints for a typical quarter-mile drag strip to fit within the available property, and no encroachments into the red areas that correspond to FPL encumbrances along the south and required perimeter landscape areas elsewhere. Only by the RFP response with specific programming and design, together with application of engineering and regulatory compliance review, can the true extent of improvements that can be accommodated on the property ultimately be determined. That leads to some important disclosures about limitations of high-level due diligence, such as that was assigned in this case, that I would ask you to bear in mind. For one, there being no specific program or site design as a basis of review and assessment, only conceptual level information drives the findings and results. Obviously, since we are undertaking this assignment to inform an RFP, we have no experience as staff undertaking the design, the construction, or the operation of a facility such as the one that's being contemplated for this property. Site conditions related to soil, vegetation, wildlife, and other physical properties are subject to change over time. And the same can be said for regulations that were reviewed as part of the due diligence. So our information today is not without its limitations, especially as time lapses. Turning attention to the FPL encumbrances along the southerly limits of the property, you'll recall that corridor is 150 feet in width and is improved with poles, overhead lines, as well as guy anchors lending structural support. FPL does have established guidelines for encroachments into its encumbrances, which typically are limited to underground infrastructure, driveways, fences and gates, overflow parking, trails, lighting, and other limited features that tend not to be obstructive and that are easily removed or replaced. Prohibited encroachments include habitable structures, water bodies, combustible materials, public recreation and assembly, items exceeding a height of 14 feet, and stockpiles. Effectively, anything that would compromise infrastructure integrity and maintenance and restoration capacity is scrutinized. FPL does render final determinations on a case-by-case basis in response to detailed design drawings, and a consent agreement is required where encroachment is authorized. Based upon experience and the existing infrastructure, no width reduction of the existing encumbrances should be anticipated to accommodate site development. At the same time, the addition of the land area previously reserved for PBSO has eliminated FPL's encumbrances being seen as a significant constraint to design and layout. Now moving into our stakeholder outreach, let's begin with agricultural operations in the area. Identification of interested parties was assisted by Cooperative Extension Director Ron Rice, and only Florida Crystals responded to the outreach and invite to meet. Representatives of Florida Crystals identified County Road 880 as a haul route during harvesting season and for routine employee access to the company's Atlantic Mills Road facility to the west. Preference was expressed for locating site access as far south on County Road 880 as possible to maximize queuing from State Road 80, both pre and post events. Dedicated lanes on County Road 880 for site and through traffic, combined with signage, roadway illumination, and a flashing light at the site driveway were identified as interests. The canal alongside County Road 880 was identified as a major agricultural drainage feature. Since both the property and County Road 880 drain to this canal and on-site retention will be a required component of any site development, no material changes are anticipated. Concern with any construction vibration causing seepage to or from the canal was raised, although the extent of muck soils is believed to preclude any blasting or activity that would affect off-site soils or subsurface conditions. Florida Crystals did express interest in muck soils that could be made available from the property for application to its agricultural lands. Sound generation was questioned, and that associated with PBSO's training facility was acknowledged to have no impacts to operations. Use of Connors Highway was identified as a concern for both safety and operational reasons. A combination of signage and a traffic operations management plan for both construction and operational phases was identified as potential solutions. The approaching replacement of the County Road 880 bridge crossing the South Florida Water Management District C51 canal was acknowledged, and interest was expressed in adding lanes as part of same. Interest was also raised in an extension of the turn lane onto County Road 880 from State Road 80, and I'm going to have more on these later in the presentation. Next, we met with the Building Division representatives having responsibility for floodplain and regulatory oversight. The property was confirmed not to be in a floodplain and within Flood Zone D, which is not atypical. Building occupancy and use was noted to pose no issues, and design in collaboration with fire rescue encouraged. Site soils were acknowledged to pose a construction challenge with some combination of muck removal, pilings, and/or special building foundation design likely necessary. Vehicular use areas will also require a design that achieves appropriate stabilization. An environmental study was noted as being required for building permit issuance. Considering that Moroso Park was also operated in an environmental area, this is not believed to present a significant issue. And last, we met with a cross-section of various division management personnel of the South Florida Water Management District on May 15th. Focus was predominantly on the district's adjacent property to the south, which is known as Stormwater Treatment Area, or STA 1W. District staff identified operations, functions, and uses, including stormwater management, wildlife habitat, conservation, and passive public recreation, such as hiking, biking, observation, hunting, and tours. Based upon those functions, district staff questioned the compatibility of a racetrack park. Specific concerns identified include noise, motor vehicle fluids and emissions, and soil composition posing heightened potential for seepage of contaminants into soils and groundwater or water bodies. District staff emphasized the difference between OHV operations and high-performance vehicles. District staff was not aware of any protected species inhabiting the area and characterized local birds and other wildlife as being migratory. Proximity to the Arthur R. Marshall Loxahatchee Wildlife Refuge was also raised. Although active permits for the property have confirmed no wetland presence, a formal wetland determination will be required prior to issuance of any additional permits having impacts to site soils. This could have an impact on site design and programming or mitigation requirements, although quality is expected to be poor due to past farming and active pumping operations. District staff also question impacts to site security, local traffic operations, and potential for conflicts with farming and hunting activities in the area. On the topic of noise, Edward Duggar and Associates was commissioned to prepare acoustical modeling and sound propagation calculations associated with use of the property as a motorsports park. The full report dated July 15th is included within attachment 3 of the item. And I would say this is by far the most technical and hypothetical component of the entire expanded due diligence. Having no program or design, the same fit study drawings that we saw on slide 5 were utilized as the assumed site condition, although the study found only negligible sound differences between these configurations. Other study methodologies and assumptions are shown on this slide, including a sound generation assignment of facilities for recreation and sporting activities that is equivalent to 4 simultaneously driven speedway motorbikes based upon available software modeling options. This was indicated to be representative since sound levels of this magnitude are in the upper range of those that would be expected to be produced by most any vehicle operating on the property, examples including motorcycles, carts, and racing automobiles, and therefore is a worst case condition. Continuing with sound and noise, the table on top of this slide is taken from the Unified Land Development Code and establishes maximum allowable sound levels based upon receiving land use, source, time of day, and service area. For ease, the applicable information is highlighted on this slide, while acceptable sound impact on residential areas, which in this case would be residential properties in the Arden community, ranging from 50 to 55 decibels, and all other surroundings at 70 decibels. The lower table reflects model results based upon maximum sound at any given point in time. Results are provided for operating scenarios ranging from all vehicular courses in simultaneous operation to each operated solely. As you can see, the static output demonstrates potential for a combination of compliance and non-compliance. With that as background, let's review some of the modeling results. This image is a configuration with all courses in simultaneous operation. With a 70 decimal limit applied to non-residential property, you can see where the orange line corresponding to the 70 decibels extends onto non-residential properties surrounding the site. And with a 55 decimal daytime limit for residential property, you can see the reach into Arden at the top right before sound attenuates to that compliant level. This slide shows the other configuration with all courses, again, in simultaneous operation. The results are materially unchanged from the prior slide. This next image duplicates slide 14, but for a 10-foot high barrier having been applied at the outer limits of the courses, which appears as a brown line on this slide. This is done to test the effectiveness of physical installations as a potential sound mitigation measure. In comparing the model outputs with and without the barriers, there is only slight difference, which suggests that an attempt to contain sound through a physical perimeter treatment, be that a berm, wall, vegetation, or combination, is not an effective means to noise mitigation. Having shown those most impactful scenarios, this by contrast shows the least impactful, and this is with the cart track in sole operation. All impacts are compliant, but for the immediate area of the STA 1W to the south and residential lots in the extreme southwest corner of Arden. This is the other least impactful scenario, which is the drag strip in sole operation. Again, compliance is attained, but for the immediate area of the STA 1W to the south and residential lots in the extreme southwest corner of Arden during nighttime hours. So to summarize and simplify, consider the following findings. No scenario results in compliance for the most proximate area of the South Florida Water Management District STA 1W, ranging from approximately 1,200 to 2,700 feet from the site. Only under the scenario with all courses in operation does sound exceedance approach the northwest extreme of the Arthur R. Marshall Refuge. No scenario results in compliance during evening and overnight hours for the southwesterly residential lots in Arden. And only the cart track and drag strip sole operating scenarios demonstrate compliance during the 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. time frame for most of the residential lots in Arden. Now the next slide takes the analysis a critical step further by considering not just sound generation at a single point in time, but in a sustained condition. This is important because the measurement standard of the Unified Land Development Code is to measure sound over a period of at least 10 minutes, and to base any finding on sound levels reached for more than 10% of that measurement period. When this measurement approach is considered, along with the fact that the entirety of the track surface was modeled as generating sound as a worst-case approach rather than only limited portions at any time, calculated sound levels are greater than would be expected under real-world conditions. For these reasons, the study finds an increased likelihood that the facility would comply with Palm Beach County Unified Land Development Code criteria. So application of modeling results to operational conditions typical of a racetrack park gives reason to doubt sustained sound at non-compliant levels. But regardless, staff does see potential for complaints being reported to code enforcement in response to site operations. As for traffic, the number of trips vested by prior approvals for the property will be sufficient to accommodate both motorsports park and/or OHV park programming. A southbound left turn lane on County Road 880 entering the property will be warranted by a motorsports park. The regulatory requirement to extend the turn lane onto County Road 880 from State Road 80 can only be determined with a specific plan of development compared against established thresholds. Moving to utilities, we previously reported that utility services are available. Water can be accessed from the existing PBSO facility, although flow rate for fire protection could require an engineering solution. Sewer will be required, and connection to the closest force main is on the opposite side of State Road 80 and will require a crossing of State Road 80 and the South Florida Water Management District C51 canal, with high probability for a lift station being required to achieve appropriate flow. Electrical service is attainable from lines along County Road 80 and State Road 80, as is communication and cable. Now talking a little about drainage and stormwater management. There are existing permits allowing the property to discharge into nearby canals, and this is the same condition that is expected to support improvement of the property. The amount of land area that will be required for water storage prior to discharge cannot be determined without geotechnical detail and a design, so it can't be determined at this time. So in turn, this will have a bearing on site programming and design during any planning effort. Now for some other consideration and disclosures that arose during our discovery. Of course, in Florida, we have mosquitoes. But given the inundation of the lands to the south and the intentional absence of mosquito spraying in the general vicinity, mosquitoes are reported to be prevalent, mostly during the fall and particularly at dusk. Being attracted to carbon dioxide, any use or occupancy of the site should anticipate the presence of mosquitoes. Muck covers the site at depths of 6 feet or greater. This translates to a significant volume of material to excavate, haul, and dispose. Muck is known to have application and value for agricultural production, so a mutually advantageous partnership could be realized with nearby agricultural interests as a means of demucking at a reduced cost compared to traditional approaches to site development. No environmental site assessment was performed as part of the due diligence, and that was not directed by the board or standard practice for regulatory and exploratory due diligence. Furthermore, the former agricultural use of the property is most likely to warrant a more intrusive environmental audit and testing be performed. At present, this is challenged by the muck soils, and their removal would also be a changed condition from any assessment performed at the present time. So this will therefore be a responsibility to be assumed by a developer concurrent with site planning and development. I previously mentioned interest in widening County Road 880 and its bridge. While both of those improvements are in the board-approved infrastructure surtax plan, none of those are planned, scoped, or budgeted for an expansion from the existing 2-lane configuration. At present, the replacement bridge is approximately 80% design complete, and construction commencement is anticipated in 1 year. Road resurfacing and canal bank stabilization, meanwhile, are ongoing. So some investment would be lost and more required to change the current course. Retention of the existing bridge for additional capacity and flexibility is not recommended by engineering and public works staff on account of its functionally obsolete classification, its end-of-life projection, maintenance commitments, cost burden, and risk avoidance deferred by leaving it in place to accommodate site traffic. And just like sound, vibration is also generated by motorsports operations. But in the absence of any design and operational intent, vibration impacts cannot reasonably be assessed at this time. Lastly, due diligence performed for the OHV park Palm Beach County Fire Rescue advocated for a helicopter landing pad being provided on-site to accommodate Traumahawk emergency medical response. And given the same potential for medical trauma emergencies that accompany any motorized vehicle operations on the property, the same would once again be expected of any alternative programming, design, development, and operation. Almost to the end here, this leaves some grant funding opportunities to be addressed. Related to an OHV park, a first source is the T. Mark Schmidt OHV Safety and Recreation Program. Individual awards have historically ranged from $25,000 to $250,000 and require a minimum 20% match. A 25-year commitment to OHV use is required, with a repayment option should anything less occur. Operations must commence within 3 years of an award, with a 1-year time extension possible. Another source is the Recreation Trails Program through the federal government and administered by the Florida Department of Environmental Protection. Eligible expenses include construction, development, and maintenance, including past expenses, although planning activities are limited to 15% of total cost. The maximum award is $1 million, and a minimum 20% match is required, with a match approaching 50% receiving higher scoring. Again, a 25-year commitment to public outdoor recreation is required. Awards remain valid for 2 years, with a pair of 1-year extensions being possible. And as you can see in the final bullet there, we are not aware of any grant funding opportunities that exist for a racetrack park. So once again, no regulatory fatal flaws or physical constraints have been identified by the further due diligence, with sound being an area of some uncertainty, albeit due to a liberal approach of producing worst-case conditions at any point in time. So with all of that, we are here today seeking board direction regarding issuance of an RFP to develop and operate the undeveloped property for an OHV park, racetrack park, or combination thereof, as well as any specific incentives, restrictions, or requirements to be included as part of same. With that, we're happy to take questions from the board.
Thank you so much, and thank you, staff, for your due diligence in providing us with these findings. And today's purpose of having this on the agenda is to review what staff has prepared for us, and it has been comprehensive, and thank you, as well as to hear from the public in terms of whether BCC direction should be to issue an RFP tailored to the improvement and operation of this undeveloped portion of the property that's owned by the county. Do any commissioners at this time have any questions or comments for the staff before we take public comment? Commissioner Barnett, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of questions. I'll be brief as I can. You mentioned on slide 20 the sewer connection. It'll have to be built, a connection from across County Road 80.
That's correct. The closest force main for sewer is on the north side of State Road 80 and to the east, a considerable distance. It would be the responsibility of a developer to install the infrastructure necessary, which again would require a crossing under State Road 80 and either under or over the South Florida C-51 canal.
No responsibility for the county to pay for this?
Not at this time.
Any estimate or idea what that would cost?
I asked for one, but there are so many unknowns with that. The size of the pipe, are we going over or under the canal? Too many unknowns to even venture a guess. Probably going to be a considerable expense.
Thank you. On page 22, slide 22, you mentioned mucking materials. The area is going to have to be demucked, and this might be an area where we can enter into an agreement with a company, Florida Crystals, has expressed an interest in acquiring this material. Will this equate to a financial benefit to the county? Is the county going to sell this material to them?
As it's been contemplated, the muck removal would be responsibility of any site developer. It would therefore be the responsibility of a site developer to enter into negotiations with any interested agricultural operation. The muck itself has a lot of high organics. It's very nutrient rich. It holds water very well. It's a very popular commodity for agriculture. That's why we think agricultural operators in the area might be willing to be a disposal location rather than having to haul it at a distance and pay to dispose. So it's essentially an arrangement for any site developer to find the most economical means to accomplish that objective.
Okay, thank you. And the last question I have is with regards to a helicopter landing pad. This was a recommendation by Fire Rescue. I'm guessing because they don't have any fire stations available in the area that would be suitable for this racetrack. Is that accurate?
I can speak at a high level, but I believe we might have someone
Chief
from Fire
Woodson.
Rescue.
I think we have, sir, are you with our firefighters?
Good afternoon, Assistant Chief Woodside. The reason for that, Commissioner, specifically, is because related to the potential of trauma events happening on that, the closest facilities that we transport to are St. Mary's Hospital and Delray Hospital. To meet the trauma criteria, they have to be fly. In most cases, probably, I'm gonna say high 90% of cases that happen out in that area, we do fly them into one of those facilities.
What percentage?
I would guess in the high 90 percentages of trauma alert patients, we fly into those facilities. We do not transport them by ground.
So in your opinion, there wouldn't be a need to build a fire station close by to this racetrack?
No, sir, that's not what I said. For any,
I'm asking if that's your opinion.
do we need to build a fire station?
Is there one out there close enough to serve any potential accidents, aside from those that would be used by Trauma Hawk or helicopter? Do we need to build a fire station next to this racetrack? Because I've had people come to me with concerns saying that there's nothing close by.
Ms. Baker, hold it,
That-
just, sir, officer, just 1 second. Ms. Baker, you may respond.
Commissioner, what we're looking at and what the Assistant Chief is referring to would be the actual incidents that happen on site is more than likely going to be very trauma-related. And even if you had a station located there, that would not help us. We need to get them to one of our trauma centers immediately if something occurred.
Okay.
So the reason the helicopter pad is being requested be put out there so Trauma Hawk can fly in and get the patient to a hospital, trauma hospital, as soon as possible. We've got 2 in our county. One is St. Mary's, the other one is the Delray facility.
Okay, good. I'm good, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Barnett. Commissioner Baxter, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. Where did the people, when that incident happened at Moroso, where did they go?
It'll be St. Mary's.
And how did they get there?
I would have to look at specifics, but it would be one or the other, ground transport or helicopter. To meet the trauma criteria, without looking at specifics, it would be by helicopter where we create a landing zone and fly someone out. There may be instances where we can't do that, and it would be by ground transport, but that's not the option or that ideal.
Thank you. So a couple things to put on your radar. We've identified a site for a future project that's right next door to Arden for a future firehouse that should be coming. I would like to see it moved up, but they're telling me that we don't have the numbers to make that happen because we have other firehouses in that order. So there should be, within the next several years, a firehouse right next door to Arden. So I am looking forward to that. Also, I will say that it is a standard practice of most racetracks to always have an EMS firefighter on site during any kind of events. So having a firehouse will definitely help, but the necessity of it, if you already have something on site, to then either quickly drive them or to the point of, I'm not opposed to a helicopter pad, I'm just not, I'm not sure that we required that at Moroso and the cost of that. So I'd like to at least leave that up to the people running the facility if that is a requirement, because I can't imagine the cost behind that.
What does that mean?
If it's not, I mean,
I would only, in response to that, Commissioner Baxter, I would only say that accidents that occur as a result of racetrack
Again, not
and
against it. If it's
off-vehicle,
minimal
right,
cost.
needs to be their trauma.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care what the cost is. You get that person, that individual, to a hospital ASAP. And I don't think it's that significant anyways. When it comes down to the cost of an individual, many of the times it's burns, that type of situation. But we'll move forward on this.
Well,
And
last question, does Tomahawk Hawk have a problem landing on a flat surface? I mean, a racetrack is basically a flat surface. So what are we asking for as far as a helicopter-specific pad?
There are a number of things from a planning perspective related to helicopter pad. Flat surface, yes. Overhead, what's close by, land projections that are related to that. We try to, from a planning perspective, when we do that, we plan and designate landing zones 100 by 100 without any particularly overhead or ground impacts for the helicopter to land.
Thank you.
I think that's it, Assistant Chief. Thank you so much. Glad you were here. Okay, if there are no other comments or questions, here we are, Vice Mayor Marino.
I do have questions, but I'd like to withhold them until after we hear public comment.
Okay, are there any questions or comments before public comment? Seeing none at this time, we're going to have public comment. And the way we're going to proceed is Commissioner Weiss to my left is going to read 8 names, 4 on one side, 4 on the other. And when you hear your name, come on up to the podium. Vice Mayor Marino is a timekeeper. Each person will have 2 minutes to speak. We have your cards when you hear your name. When you come up to the podium, as soon as you say your name, the time will start. All right, Commissioner Weiss, go ahead and proceed with the names.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. One of my colleagues had asked that folks identify where they're from when you come to speak as well. So, we'll start with this lectern over here. Madeline Marconi, Janice Zolo Ridnour, Ben Reeves, and Nicole Conway. At the other side is Thomas Brown, Everell Cagno, I apologize for that, Corey Zarin, and Dawn Strong.
Okay, we have 2 podiums, 4 on the first 4 names on the right side, the second 4 names on the left. If your time comes and we say your name, you're not here, that'll be it. Okay, now I want everybody to hear me out. Today, we're only going to speak on whether the county should pursue looking at an RFP for the development of this land. We're not going to discuss how much you love race car driving or you don't like it, but whether or not the county commissioners should agree to promote a greater review of this issue. Ms. Marconi, you're recognized.
Thank you so much. Before I begin, though, I do have documents to submit to the record. I don't know if you want to do it before or after.
You can give them here to the clerk, and he'll go ahead and disperse them. Go right ahead.
And those documents, just to state, are just a couple of asks. A letter of support from Town of Jupiter Mayor Cameron May, and then also State Representative Peggy Gossett-Seidman. So I'm here today leading the 3 Ask campaign to assist this county in fulfilling a promise that was given to the motorsports community in May of last year when our beloved racetrack was approved for destruction. This due diligence report that has come back is sparse, to say the least. And while it may not be intentional, this process is currently designed to fail. But we are here to help you guide you toward a solution to successfully bring a motorsports facility to our county. It has been said on the record the county is looking for investors to develop and operate the county land at 20 Mile Bend. However, the county has not spent the time or money to ensure that a racetrack can be built at 20 Mile Bend. At this point, the county, unfortunately, has unrealistic expectations, assuming a third party would be willing to pay for the studies and surveys to ensure a racetrack can be built. As we know, the county advertised that it would contribute the land, but in the form of a lease. Yet this land does not have connections to water, sewer, or electric. Therefore, these utilities need to be brought to the property line. Also, this property is entrenched with muck that needs to be removed and refilled with construction-ready soil to 10 feet above the water table. And to protect the motorsports facility for the next generations, a noise variance needs to be passed to ensure track operations will not be interrupted. Today, we are asking our commissioners to simply take action to get this property shovel-ready before the RFP is released. As stewards of our taxpayer dollars, we request that you grant these 3 asks and invest in this property, which will become an income-producing asset to Palm Beach County and its residents. This facility will bring new jobs, contribute to sustainable energy research and technology, improve local STEM programs, and above all else, improve the safety for our residents.
Thank you so much, Ms. Marconi, and we'll read the items that you gave. Thank you. Commissioner Weiss?
I don't know how they lined up, so I don't know who to call.
Okay, I'll tell you what, we'll go to the left to right. Ma'am, come on up, state your name.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Everell Calcagno. I own a home in Loxahatchee. My husband and I both drive a race car, as well as my 19-year-old daughter and our 11-year-old son. We are also small business owners here in Palm Beach. I'm also speaking on behalf of the 3 asks, specifically the noise variance for the property. First, the conclusion of the noise study is to conduct more noise studies, which isn't very helpful. As it stands, the variables and assumptions in the study were not applicable to the drag strip. The due diligence report used a sound equivalent study that included 4 simultaneously driven speedway motorbikes. To properly evaluate the noise effects on the surrounding community, the study should have used 2 drag cars in the southwest corner of the property where the drag strip will be located, with the noise emanating to the southwest as well, since that's the direction the exhaust would be flowing. It was clear from the Urban Design Studio's image that the drag strip could only fit in one location. Adjusting for these variables, the noise emanating from the drag strip does not fit into the accepted range for noise restrictions, including night restrictions. Further, the noise study omitted any testing for cup cars on the road course. That said, our independent calculations for both the drag strip and road course fell in line with the accepted range for all hours regarding the residential decibel restrictions. However, our results are that the upper limit of the acceptable decimal limit. Therefore, the property will need an unrestricted noise variance during normal motorsport operating hours to safeguard the property and prevent any potential hindrances on business operations from frivolous complaints, which seem likely given the false accusations and untrue statements coming from some of the very loud voices in the Arden community. Additionally, night events are largely held on weekends. Further, the expansion of the Southern Boulevard will strengthen its function as a natural noise barrier.
Thank you. Commissioner Baxter, you're recognized before the next speaker.
Thank you, Mayor. Eric, could you clarify for me, when we were talking about those sounds with 4, was it motor sports bikes or so on, we were looking at the absolute worst case scenario?
That's correct, and the study is very clear. It did create what's considered a worst-case scenario. And we do have our subject matter expert with us in the audience if you would like any further detail on the study.
And even at the worst case scenario, the decibels reached, you said, what was it, the southwest corner, but it was at a level of?
Exceeded 50 decimals at night and 55 during the day. So you have 2 different measurements depending upon the time of day.
And that we're talking if there were 4, and it's still, even at 50 decibels is roughly what, I think I looked it up, it was like a dishwasher is 50 decibels, and that's worst case scenario?
I am not a sound expert. I would suggest
You said there's an expert here. If they could answer that, what is 50 decibels equivalent to?
Is the gentleman here? He is here. Come on up, sir. Identify yourself and answer the question, if you can.
Hello, Sam Schroyer, Edward Douglas Associates. We're located in Stewart, 1239 Southeast Indian Street. Just for reference purposes, I brought a few charts to answer these very questions. I just have to find them. And I will, here you go. So 50 decibels, we got like average residence, office spaces, background music, Some sources are saying whispered speech, quiet room. Air conditioning is 60. Typical conversation is about 65, just rough, you know.
And still, this is at worst case scenario, which we're not actually anticipating at the track.
Right, right. These are just from some textbooks I found, but these charts, you know, urban residence at 50 decibels, large transformer at 15 meters at 55. So basically mechanical equipment, not far from mechanical equipment, I'd say is, you know.
Thank you so much
fair
for that. I
example.
appreciate it.
I hope that's helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, let's go on to the next speaker, sir.
Hi, my name's Ben Reeves. I'm
Whoa,
from,
whoa, whoa,
oops, sorry.
whoa. Thank you. State your name and where you're from.
My name is Ben Reeves. I'm from Lake Worth, Florida. In lieu of speaking, I'd like to ask you guys to play a video from Laura Diaz.
Yes, okay, go right ahead.
Yes, he is.
Has this been approved by county staff? Yes? Okay. Don't worry, you won't lose your time as we get it. A lot of great green space.
Do we want to come back to it?
Maybe while we work on the technical difficulties, we're going to go on to the next speaker,
down.
but yeah.
I'll sit down.
Okay, do whatever you want. Don't go away. Sir, you're recognized. State
Good-
your name, where are you from?
Good afternoon. Corey Zarin from Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, and I'm a 33-year resident of Palm Beach County. I'm also here today speaking on behalf of the three asks and speaking specifically to the first ask, which is a long list. When the county put out the call for help to build a new racetrack, we all assumed the county would complete the necessary studies for any construction to start at the 20 Mile Bend property. However, that is not the case. In fact, no diligence was performed on the land donation from the sheriff's office, which is 33.5 acres alone. So as the process currently stands, the county expects a third party to come in, pay for the necessary studies that the county requires to build a racetrack at 20 Mile Bend. The commission uses language like, we're looking for investors to help us build this racetrack. In reality, we're asking for donors here to fund the necessary studies and then to build this racetrack thereafter on county land. That said, we've put together a list of the studies that the county needs to complete before an RFP is issued, which includes the following: Phase 1 and Phase 2 environmental studies, an indigenous species study, an endangered species study, a formal wetland study, a soil composition study, a topography report on a 50-foot grid, a geotechnical report, a site survey with detailed measurements, and a boring study down to 50 feet. This list is on a reference sheet that has been submitted to the commission and that you guys will have for your review. It's time for the county to show it's serious about building this racetrack, and I thank you for your time here this afternoon.
Thank you so much, sir. Okay, ma'am, go right ahead. Go ahead.
Hi, Commissioners. My name's Janice Zola Ridenour. I've owned a business in Palm Beach County for 30 years. I am also an Arden resident, and I am also a race car fan. However, not next door to where I live. And I've been listening to, I have this whole thing prepared, but after what I've heard today, I'm not a scientist, but I have common sense, and there is no way these dragsters are going to be the same as a dishwasher. I just Googled quickly what a gunfire decibels are, and it's between 120 and 175 decibels, and we hear the Palm Beach Sheriff's Office gun range every single day. But we knew that moving into Arden. We said, wait, that's for the betterment of our county, for them to practice, obviously. But this is not something we asked for. And this is not just for Arden. We're part of a greater Western community. And we've already turned to our Western neighbors. And they have known about this for months, and that's why they have such a great showing. We found out last week on the news. But don't let our small numbers surprise you, because we will organize. We will do our own studies. That what you've heard today is, their version of what they want you to hear. But we need time too to organize and defend our properties, our property values. We have traffic control issues now with reckless driving and speeding, where we've had major accidents that literally cut Southern Boulevard off, trapping residents and the folks from Belle Glades. In 2 of those incidences, we've lost 2 Arden residents as early as last month. We had a resident killed due to reckless driving and speeding. So this is a problem without a racetrack. And PBSO does not have enough officers to patrol our areas. We've asked them, we've called them all the time. I do not know how they're going to, govern all of this traffic, and to be quite honest. And another community is being built right next to us that's as big as Arden. That's going to cause a problem. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Sir.
Good afternoon. My name is Thomas Brown. I'm here supporting the track. I have a 11-year-old son that races, and this isn't just a drag strip for him. This is his football field. This is his baseball field. Football fields and baseball fields are loud as well. And we have a whole family, and we all race, and we would do anything we can to help support it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your brevity. Bam, come on up. State your name.
My name is Nicole Conway. I'm also an Arden resident, and I'm not opposed to motorsports in Palm Beach County, but I am opposed to a racetrack with high-performance vehicles being in our backyard. I implore you, get more noise studies, please. We all know NHRA vehicles on a drag strip are some of the loudest there are, so I can't comprehend the results we saw today. This will be 2 miles from our entrance, and what wasn't mentioned at all in this entire presentation or noise studies was on the southwestern part of our community, 1 mile away from this, will be a brand new elementary school that we've already broken ground on. And for those of you who will say, hey, this will not be within the hours of schools, parents, think about how many events take place at your kids' schools outside of supposed school hours, fundraisers and holiday events and aftercare and after-school activities, teachers that come to work and administrators on days that are, the school is supposedly closed. The noise will then come home with us and be in our kitchens, bedrooms, living rooms, and affect every aspect of our lives. We also have a huge safety and security issue that you heard of. We have 1 road in and out of Arden that we'll now share with the racetrack. Adding thousands of extra cars to Southern, our only road can quite literally trap us in our homes, increasing accidents and crime. It won't decrease street racing, it'll just bring it to our doorsteps. Noise pollution, by the way, going back to that, is a very real thing. Even at what you're calling low levels, constant bombardment and noise increasing stress, anxiety, sleep disorders, affecting kids' development, focus, and cognition, and ability to learn in their schools. Again, I'm not opposed to motorsports, just please don't bring it to our doorstep. This project should not come with complete disregard to the quality of life of thousands of residents, children in their schools, people who are taxpayers and contribute significantly to the local economy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Perfect timing. So, ma'am? Sir. There you are. You're recognized, sir.
Oh, do you?
Yes, sir. It's you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Don Strong, and I head up a 2-car race team, Don Strong Racing. My teammate Troy Conaway couldn't be here today, unfortunately. But I'd just like to say that I moved here a year and a half ago. I live in West Palm Beach. I built a 1,900 square foot facility for my racing operation. It's a hobby, it's a passion that we have. And Strong Racing strongly supports the development of a motorsports facility in West Palm. And I understand I also have a video to present from our group that enforces this.
So as long as the video's been approved by staff, have we approved this video? All right, sir.
I understand we did.
You go right ahead.
Yeah, that's the jet car one.
Hey everyone, I'm Wes Buck, founder of Drag Illustrated Media and the promoter of the World Series of Pro Mod. and the recently announced
It's the other
Dragon
one.
Street winners.
Larson?
Lane Larson, what about after this? What's the next big thing for you?
Well, you know, this morning was actually pretty darn cool. We had over 800 kids that came to visit, and it was kids all from Palm Beach County schools, and they learned about STEM and STEAM education, which is science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics.
Right.
And they all came in, and it was cool about it. It was free of charge, so all these kids could come in, they could learn about high-performance vehicles, how to make these cars slipperier, how do they make them cooler, how do you make something that you want to go fast?
Yes.
And they all get to learn about everything that we do, and they got to watch me make them pass down the track. So the next thing is making this bigger, making it bigger, and more jet cars, more fire, and more fun.
You know, interestingly enough, there's a little tie-in to what you just said. It's Supercar Week. When we took that away from fences and tickets and all that kind of thing, and in those days, and wanted it to be a free show, it was supposed to make a family event. So moms and dads could come as a family unit, little boys and little girls, and music to my ears on a Supercar Sunday is to hear a young boy go, "Dad, wow, look at this."
I was there. Those are cars that you dream of. Those cars that I saw at your Supercar Week, those are things that people only see in magazines. And you get to see them running up and down the streets. You get to look at them. You get to talk to the owner and look inside.
Right,
and you
right.
get to see that it is possible that if you work really hard, you could have.
Sir, I appreciate it. It's always good to see a video.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
so much. Thank
All
you for
right, we're
considering.
going to have another 8 names. As you call your name, come on up to the either podium. Go right ahead, Commissioner Weiss.
Don Boulis, John Marconi, Ken Zeron, Travis Lewis, Mark Russell, Robert Warren, Michael Brosofsky, and Colleen Tierney.
Ma'am, state your name, you're recognized.
Good afternoon. My name is Dawn Bolus. I'm here speaking on behalf of the 3 Asks. At the June 4th board meeting, the Executive Director of Tourist Development Council, Emmanuel Perry, admitted that the loss of the motorsports was a tremendous hit to our county. Commissioner Baxter and Mayor Sachs instructed the TDC to evaluate the positive effects of a motorsports facility to then allocate funds to rebuilding this track. For perspective, the TDC had an annual budget of $85 million last year. Outside of staff, the budget goes primarily to advertising and promoting lifestyle of live, work, play, and as said by Mr. Perry on June 4th. However, an efficiency study to evaluate the return on investment for the advertising the TDC pays for has never been done, or at least we have not seen. We might not have the latest information as the TDC has not released an annual report for the fiscal year 2022 and 2023. We would like to know why the TDC is paying for advertising at Palm Beach International Airport when the tourists are already there. Instead, these dollars should be allocated towards higher return on investment initiatives, as Mr. Perry said. Take our destination to the next level. This motorsports facility delivers on both of those and will take Palm Beach County to the next level. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sir, you're recognized.
Thank you. My name is Mark Russell. I live in Danny Beach, just down the street. As Florida Region's Assistant Director of the Sports Car Club of America, also known as SCCA, and also the Race Director for the Florida Region of National Auto Sports Association, known as NASNA, I am here to fully support the development of this motorsports complex and fully endorse the 3 Asks plan to make that happen. Both are national organizations that have strong roots here in Palm Beach County, and both organizations were frequent users of Moroso back in the day. In South Florida, we have over 4,000 members, ages ranging from 14 up until their 80s, almost there, providing a unique opportunity for the older generation to pass down their knowledge to the youth. Since PBIR closed, our events are much more limited, as Homestead is the only other option within distance for our members. However, Homestead is very far south and cannot support all the demand from Moroso, leaving all racing leagues and associations with only a handful of days each year to use that facility. This forced our members to travel elsewhere across the country, out of state, and so forth, or just get out of the business. Racing events that could easily be held here in Palm Beach County. Given Florida's year-round warm and sunny climate, this new facility would easily capture the demand for our members locally, statewide, and nationally. who would prefer coming to Palm Beach County for our races. Most importantly, for tourist resident revenues, our races spend approximately $400 a day versus the county's assumption of only $240. Further, we would have at least 200 to 400 drivers and support crews at each of our 5 to 8 events each year. We again hope to bring these events back to Palm Beach County. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Ma'am, you're recognized. You're taking her time away, so I'm sorry, I apologize, but go right ahead.
Good afternoon. My name is Colleen Tierney. I've been a resident in Palm Beach County for 30 years, and I am in support of the racetrack. I am speaking on behalf of the 3 asks. As you all recently discussed, Palm Beach County's 2025 planned budget is now $9 billion, up from $7.8 billion in 2023, and there have been a lot of dollars allocated to questionable projects. The first is the $20 million for housing bonds, which promised to deliver 20,000 units, but has been revised to only 1,500 units. Secondly, Palm Beach County recently spent $700,000 taxpayer dollars for design plans to renovate the 12th floor of the current governmental center. As we all know, that's where the commissioners and their staff work. Further, the commissioners are trying to decide between $160 million to upgrade the current governmental center or $261 million on a brand new governmental center. The real question is why upgrading the governmental center is in discussion. It's clearly premature. We already have one of the nicest county governmental centers, and the county's satellite location can handle employee growth. Instead, the commissioners should be focusing on economic growth of private businesses within our county that provides wages to afford the skyrocketing high cost of living in this county. This motorsports facility will do exactly that, as the facilities events will propose $130 million of economic impact and generate an additional $44 million within the county. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. You're recognized. I apologize. The applause is taking your time away, but go right ahead, sir.
My name is Travis Lewis, and I live in Loxahatchee, and I redid my speech 3 times so far. I live right next door to Lion Country Safari, and I just learned on Google that the lion's roar is 114 decibels. I will not be here complaining about that, but 50 decibels is a quiet conversation. It is a refrigerator running or a dishwasher, and the county study on the noise that was talked about a berm, I believe, being built on the site plan, but does it go along with the berm that was built on Arden? Because I know somebody that lives on the First Street at Arden, and they said with the berm that was built, you can't even hear traffic going by. So I don't know if that study was done with the berm in mind, but I'm also in support of the 20 Mile Bend project, as you know, a motorsports complex where you can take our race cars to a local track instead of driving 3 hours north or west. While sitting here, I learned about Vanderbilt University being built here in West Palm Beach, and besides believing that's a great idea, I heard the chancellor of Vanderbilt talking about their autonomous vehicles program, AKA self-driving vehicles, for those that